Hey YouTube, we're here with Johnny from ProjectCCG, and today's gonna show us his Shaddoll Invoked Dogmatika deck. And this is after the new set just released. What's the new set?
It is called
Rise of the
Duelist.
and he's the Duelist. So we're gonna jump right into it. What's cool about this deck, first of all?
Basically, with the meta game right now, we kind of want to have Winda on the field, but with Dragma, they do have ways to get with around Winda, but apart from that, you kind of want to hit heavy decks like Eldrick, especially the Synchron version, Emancipator, and then any deck that just spans the field. And I feel that Shaddoll Winda by itself just does all that. And then the cool part of running Invokes is you get to run like Mech Kappa too. And there's also cool strategies too that I might implement later on to combat like some of the cards that are being played right now. So we'll just get
we'll go through the combos and
yeah, and then I'll
the
show
video. All right.
So it's 3 Alistairs for the Invoked, no more, no less. And then for the Shaddolls, my theory, after playing this deck for so long, is that you want to minimize drawing these guys because these guys by themselves suck. But however, 2 Beasts, 2 Wendy, 2 Solano, 1 Dragon, 1 Hedgehog, 1 Ariel. Towards the future, I might consider cutting Ariel altogether for the third Skomata, but 2-2-2, and then this ratios works fine with me. You don't want to ever see these. The reason why you don't ever want to see these is that you have a new card that came out in the set. That's basically a Foolish Burial, and it gets you to any of these cards at any point. So I'll get these here. So that's 9 Shaddolls. I was running like 12 before. And then we have 2 of the new card. It's called a Fleuris, the Knighted. So how this one works is you can special summon her from the hand whenever your opponent or yourself link summons during the main phase, and then when this card is summoned next to another Dragma that's not itself, you get to negate a monster on the field. So it's a cool way to negate Needle Fire. However, I would never use that effect since I only run this as the only Dragma monster, and I ran him because this one by itself doesn't restrict me to my extra deck. It just summons itself, and then it's another extender, so it's quite cool. All the other ones, like the Main Searcher and then the Maximus, both have clauses that if you search or you dump, you can no longer use your extra deck, so you kind of want to be careful with that.
It's a light, right?
Yeah, it's a light too. It's 2500 attack, which is relevant, which I'll bring it up in a bit. And then hand traps, which I feel this is probably the most powerful hand trap in the game right now, is Gamma. The reason you run Gamma is with cards like Infernobles, they run Neospatial Connector, right? If you let that card resolve and then bring out Aqua Dolphin, they get to snipe any hand trap they want because they're all such low attack. However, with Gamma, if they go Neospatial Connector, you can Gamma it and gets rid of the card while negating it. So now they have to have 2 extenders to even go into a Soul Day. Whereas if you Ash it, you Valor it, you Impermanence it, the card still stays on the board. So then you just have to, all have to do is provide another warrior to make a Soul Day and they still full combo you. So
you call it on the connector, right?
Yeah, you usually do it on that because or any way they think that they can not make a connector, they cannot make into Dolphin, then you probably want to wait. But if you know they're gonna bring out Dolphin, you're gonna have to hit that.
Yeah.
So it pretty much stops them there. And then 2 Ashes and 2 Nibiru. So I ran 2 and 2. I don't want to max out on either because both of them don't have applications like this. Sucks against control decks. And Ashes here just for like Desires, Extravagance, stuff like that. And then Nibiru keeps certain decks in check. And then with Gamma, Nibiru, or Impermanence, like I can let them like bring all the entire field, and then they end like what with a Boral Savage or a Herald. I Nibiru them, they choose to negate, and then I Imperm or Gamma the monster, and then report goes away. So
Jesus.
for the Shaddoll spells, you'll see something very peculiar. I only played 2 Shaddoll fusions and then 3 El Shaddoll. This is basically your most important Shaddoll spell trap. This one, because you never want to make Winda raw during your first turn. You typically want to stray away from that because many people are maining Droplets or Dark Ruler no more. And then they just get a free negate off that. And if you don't have a setup for that, you already waste a Winda. You want to save both Windas for like trying to stop your opponent. And then Shaddoll fusions that too, because a lot many people keep forgetting that people can Ash this. So it's very vulnerable. Like if you open this during your opening hand and you try to go off and then you get ashed and you're like, oh shit. Which is also pretty cool too why I ran Gamma. Because this raw, they ash and then you Gamma, then oh, that's pluses right there. But yeah, 2 because it still has its applications, but 3 of this is basically your most important quick plays.
Is this deck now a go first deck or go second deck?
It could be both first or second. I can if I get the option to go first, I go first.
Okay, so it's not.
But he can go second too.
Yeah.
And then for the card that got released in the set, it is called the Nadir Servant. So it is a spell card that says it's not a cost. It has to fully resolve. It is a card that says send an extra deck monster from your extra deck to the grave. You get to search a Dragma card equal to or less than the attack of the monster sent. So Alpha Code is 2500 attack. Your Knighted is 2500 attack. So it's a legal target. And what's cool about Alpha Code, so once you finish searching this card from your deck to your hand, this card triggers. Anytime this card is sent to the graveyard, you get to search for a any Shaddoll card, and then you get to dump any card from your hand. So
what the hell?
This card lets you add the trap card, which is primarily your target. And the trap card, I'll get into detail right now. Or it lets you add the Shaddoll, like I said, and you dump any card. Or if you already have the spell or trap, or you have this in your hand, you get to add Squamata, then dump it, and then dump Hedgehog, and then Hedgehog searches you any Shaddoll you want. And then there you have the Shaddoll in your hand already. So basically this, Foolishing Bin this, basically means you have any Shaddoll card in your deck exposable to your hand at all times. And keep note, this will lock you down from your extra deck as soon as this card resolves, so you can no longer use your extra deck. So usually you activate this when you play through your Makaba or any other shenanigans, then you play this as a lost card. Let's see. Oh! Then you have 3 Meltdown and 2 Invocation. I was running 3 on this for the most part, but I kept drawing 3. And you only ever need 2. Usually when you hold the desires, you usually would wait until you resolve 1. You resolve it, keep it in the grave, then you play your desires. And then once if this gets negated or whatever, you have 1 in the grave at least, where you activate the this card in the grave, shuffle, bring back the Alistair from the banished pile to your hand. This comes in the deck. At least you have 1 copy at all times in your deck. So, and then 2 desires. I was running 3, but I took out the 3rd one for the 3rd Nadir Servant because I was running only 2. But I feel this card is super important to resolve, to warrant just to play those 3 and just 2 of this.
So it makes Shaddoll's more consistent with having
basically
more
now
cards.
we have a cool way of searching Shaddoll Spawn Trap. Yeah. Alright, and we have 2 Infirms. Infirm 2, because this card is the only card that plays around the new card Triple Tactical Talents, which says if a monster is activated during your turn, during your main phase, they can either confiscate your hand, take control of a monster, or draw 2 cards in this card 1. So this card plays around it because it's not a monster effect, Spawn Trap card, and also works cool with Nibiru. If they go crazy with the board and then you Nibiru them, they negate, you Infirm, and then they're gone. And 1 Shaddoll Schism. This is also a brand new card from the new set. This card is actually disgusting. So, it lets you fusion summon using materials from grave or field, and you have to banish them, so like Miracle Fusion. And say you bring out a Winda. Once Winda hits the field, its effect triggers on a separate chain link. You get to send a dark monster from your opponent's field to the grave.
So any attribute. So you made a construct, you gotta send a light, right?
Yeah. So this card easily searchable via Alpacone, or you can dump it with Shaddoll Squamata, link it away, make Gravity Controller, search this to your hand, easy. And 1 copy, that's all you need. It's a 40 card deck, so I'm trying to play correct numbers. And for the extra deck, we have 1 Elysium, 1 Makaba, and 1 the new Invoked from Eternity Code. We ran Makaba, obviously it's a standalone great card. There's a card in the extra deck now that you could also choose to tech or side deck if you happen to run across Invoked Dragma or any kind of Dragma, because there's a card called Maximus that makes you send 2 cards from your extra deck. So if you're able to send, like, I can send this to search any Shaddoll, or I can send Cyber Dragon Nova. What Nova says is whenever it's sent via your possession to the grave, you get to special summon a machine, ignoring so many conditions. So when they make you to send 2 extra deck monsters, you can send Nova to summon. Then after it resolves, Nova brings this out from your extra deck.
That's cute.
Yeah, so that's pretty insane. So I might side deck Nova for that. I don't want to main deck. My space is like super tight. Elysium is here because it clears any problem like monster and it's super easy to make. And it's 3200, so it can kill a shot easily too. And then this one is really awesome too. This is the reason why you don't need Access Code Talker or Boral Sorting your deck anymore. Because this by itself, you bring it out, you get a pop a monster, and then you can banish any fusion from your grave and it gains that equal attack. So you can banish like, let's say Mekaba's in your grave, you can banish Mekaba and it becomes 45.
Damn.
That's pretty strong. And then you make them with any fusion monster. These are all easy to make, so. No Purgatorio, no Kaliga, none of that. So we get to the Shaddolls, your most important one now. Before I ran at 1, now you're running at 2. Because you can still raw draw it, or if you draw 2 servants in a row, you have targets to like dump, and then you can always search a Shaddoll card, or make it raw and then negate a monster, and negate any card on the field, face-up card on the field. So this card's really important now. Double window. I chose not to run 3 still because again, you tend to make this. You tend to save these at the very important time when you need to make them for your opponent's field, and it's standalone. It's just a fantastic card. This is the one card I might consider dumping down a 1. There's a couple of cards in my extra deck I kind of want to run, and I have my eyes out, but I have this for now. One of them might be. There's a lot of decks out there that exist in the OCG that run the same strategy I do. But they make double Mekaba and then they make King Calamities because Mekabas are 9 and you overlay them into the King Calamities. But I think that's win more and it wastes my extra deck. So one of them might be a Sideframe Lambda because I run the Gamma package and I can make it. And it makes it so like if I have Gamma in my hand, sometimes Gamma could be dead because I have monsters on the field. But when I make Lambda, Lambda lets me use it from the hand even if I have monsters. So I might use that. But Construct by itself is still a pretty useful card. And then for the links, you have All Mirage and Secure Garna. These are just for Alistair. Link this off, make him, and then this becomes a light. Gravity Controller is a fantastic card. Many people cut them from the deck because they feel that it's not necessary. But this basically becomes, again, you can make Construct, Winda, Opacone in your extra deck monster zone, link it off, and then if you send like a Squamata and you send the trap card, El Shaddoll Fusion, it's basically a way to search it. And then this card by itself is standalone really good because it gets to, when it battles an extra deck monster, send it back to the deck. When it battles a monster from the main monster zone, it can be destroyed by battle. So it's a pesky card. It's a really nice card. And then your generic monsters, Unicorn, Alistair, and Prosheep. Prosheep is there. It's a fusion deck, so you're always summoning monsters for El Shaddoll Fusion, so you have materials. Alistair is here because with your combo, if you like make Alistair, you can make him. And when you make Almirage, if you raw draw this, you can trigger this. And then you have a Fire, Pyro, and Light Spellcaster, you can make Alistair. Then you have a Shaddoll and El Shaddoll Fusion, but you don't draw the Invocation because maybe the Alistair got negated via Impermanence or Ash. Then you have a way to search Invocation too, so you can extend your plays. So this one's good. And this one's just a good spot removal. Again, I haven't been playing too much in depth with the deck, so maybe this might not be useful as much. So I might be cut for Lambda as well, or any other, or Nova maybe perhaps. And that's the deck.
Alright, so we're gonna go through a combo. That like a first turn combo, I guess.
Yeah, so say you have this and this. Okay, so this is involving you just draw a way to get Mekaba and this.
So 2 cards.
Yeah, just 2 cards. You summon Alistair, effect, get your invocation. You link this off. I'll put the least one right here. For Almirage, and then Almirage becomes your Secure Garna, and then you activate your invocation using this as material, banishing the Alistair to make Mekaba. A lot of people aren't putting this in defense. It's just my little dumb theory that in case people do main Lightning Storm too, you play around it as well.
Oh, yeah.
And it doesn't matter really because you'll have this in your hand, so if they try to beat over it, it's 3,000 defense, so
Yeah, true.
not worry much. So, and then they can add it back using Invocation's effect from the grave. Now this is in your hand. Now that you've done all that, you can activate Nadir Servant, sending Apicon.
Now you're locked out.
Now you're locked out from your extra deck, so if you search Shaddoll Fusion, you can't use it vesting turn. That's why you typically search all Shaddoll. So with this, search this, and then once that's finished resolving, then you trigger the Apicon, which lets you add any Shaddoll card from your deck to your hand. So you add this, and then at that point you get to discard a card. So discarding could trigger all the Shaddoll monsters too. And yeah, you can even dump this because this is really in your hand. You don't use the effect, it's just an extender, so you can just dump this straight up. But usually you dump like a monster, or you dump this because now you need a dark monster in your grave. Because then afterwards, when you set the Shaddoll trap, next turn your opponent does try to do something, they apply Dark Lord, no more of this, or try to get over Macabre, right? And after you try that, they do that, then you activate Shaddoll Schism. It works like True King, like the True King spells and traps. They can't ogre this when you activate the effect to fusion summon, since it activates instantly when you activate it. So then you banish said the Shaddoll and the Dark for the window. Right there. And then at that point you can send a Dark Monster. And yeah, and then now you have a win right there.
Yeah. So you usually do that on the first special summon, right?
Yeah.
Reactively.
Yeah. Or get to see what they probably do. And yeah, just again, it's important because you need a dark, because right now as you see, you have no darks in your graveyard. So if you dump like a Shaddoll, if you hard draw Shaddoll, you can dump like a beast, draw a card, and then you already have it set up.
Sick.
Or you can try to pump your guy and then do that, banish these two, and make this guy. Bad thing is don't forget, this can never attack your opponent directly. Because of the restriction of this card. So usually if Alistair stays in your hand, usually if you do make window successfully and you stop your opponent, it's usually kill shot right there, because when you have these two on the board, next turn you'll just resummon the Alistair, you search the invocation, and then you'll link off these two.
Oh, okay, and then you go link cross sheep plays.
Cross sheep, or your cross sheep primarily. And then you can and you banish these two. Since you have a fusion, and you already have a fusion you want to keep the bigger one in the grave. You banish these two for your invoked Algades. And this one already clears a monster too with the added effect. You can just destroy a monster instantaneously, and then you trigger this. Bring anything that you can. You don't even have to trigger, you don't even need it, because then remember you have the fusion that you sent with Nadir Servant. Then you trigger this, and it becomes 45.
Sick.
So 45, 25. Don't forget about this. Put it back in your deck. Make that 55.
And then they have one monster, because that's all they did, right?
Or I mean, this is gonna clear that monster too. So.
So they're empty. All right. And that's it for Johnny's
Shaddoll Invoked Dogmatika.
All right. So that's it for the deck profile. And you guys like the videos, please subscribe. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook. Our website is on the links below. And we'll see you next one. Bye.